And welcome to the podcast, Making Sense, brought to you by Navy Federal Credit Union. I'm your host, Emily Bigham, and each week I'll be taking your questions to the experts to help you make sense of your money, pun intended. On this first season of Making Sense, we're making your financial health our mission. So what does this mean? Well, as members of the military, veterans, and family members of those who serve, financial health can mean anything from rethinking your budget as you transition from active duty to civilian life, or figuring out the right mortgage for you, or whether it's even the right time to buy a home. It can also be discussing how to have the money talk with your family. I'm a Navy brat from Coronado, California, and growing up, I experienced firsthand how the military lifestyle can make basic finance questions a bit more complicated. On the podcast, we'll be giving tips and tricks, like what credit card to use overseas to avoid extra fees. Is it the right time to buy a home? If so, which mortgage product should you choose? And as a service member, what are your special benefits, such as the VA loan? And as your host, it's important to me that I'm asking the right questions on your behalf. So let me know, what topics should we cover? What keeps you up at night? Email me, Emily Bigham, at makingcents@navyfederal.org. That's MakingCents @navyfederal.org. And make sure to subscribe to Making Sense wherever you get your podcasts. Hello, and welcome back to Making Sense, a podcast brought to you by Navy Federal. I'm your host, Emily Bigham, and today we're going to be talking about savings products, but specifically saving for the holidays. Today we have Jaspreet Chawla on the podcast. Welcome, Jaspreet.
Thank you.
Thanks so much for being here. Good morning. Jaspreet is the head of our savings products department here at Navy Federal, so the perfect person to talk to about this. Now I'm going to throw a little curveball at you. How has your morning routine changed since we've all been at home, working from home?
I am loving my morning routine. It's letting me sleep in. So I get about 30 to 40 minutes of extra sleep because I'm not sitting in traffic. And if I do end up waking up early still, I can go for a quick morning run. So I'm loving the change in the mornings, and it puts me in a really, really good mood.
Good. Yeah, I can tell. Very cheery this morning. And I love the 30 to 40 minutes. It's like that's so specific, but it's so important. Just that little extra bit makes such a difference.
Yep.
Awesome. All right. Well, so do you want to talk a little bit about what you do here at Navy Federal Savings Department?
Absolutely. So as you mentioned, I'm managing the savings products division. With that comes all our deposit products, so checking accounts, savings, MMSAs, IRAs, certificate products, pricing of those products, and then the operations involved with it, and the data and the analytics. I've been with Navy Federal for 20 years. I know it seems like such a long time, but time truly has gone by really, really fast. I am new to my role. I just moved over to savings products about a year ago.
Congratulations.
Thank you.
So, before we get into the savings products, and I want to specifically talk about the holidays coming up, we're in an interesting time right now. There's some economic uncertainty. And do you have any tips for how consumers can, take advantage of the holiday season without having to spend too much money?
Absolutely. I mean, sales is the number one thing that comes to mind, right? Shopping sales, and you can do this online. A lot more folks are doing this online nowadays, is always a good idea. And then getting your shopping done. Cyber Mondays. A lot of the merchants are pushing for shopping prior to Black Friday. So you're going to see in the upcoming weeks a lot of activity online. So I would take advantage of that. But just be careful to not use sales and as an excuse or as a reason to make unnecessary purchases, right? As you mentioned, Emily, we're in a time of a lot of uncertainty. So we want to make sure that we are purchasing and enjoying the holidays within our means. Another good strategy, especially during this time, is if money's tight for you and your loved ones, reach a consensus amongst your friends and family, right? Maybe do a budget allocation that all gifts must be purchased up to X tag amount, whether it's $35, $50, whatever your budget allows. Or perhaps you do a Secret Santa and you only have to purchase one gift in a group of your friends or your family, amongst your family members. So I'd say, think about getting creative.
I do love a good Secret Santa. We've done that before here at Navy Federal and teams in the past.
Yep.
And so you did mention budget allocation. Yep. And, on the podcast, we like to talk about how to make our money go further. Has there been a time when you've went the homemade gift route?
Absolutely. And I'm actually doing that even this year. So I love drawing. So what I'm doing is for all my friends, doing an art piece for all of their homes. So just something small that I will give to them. And then I also have taken up knitting. And I know a lot of folks are in that similar place like me, because we have some time because we're not on the road, getting frustrated with our commute. So we have some extra time. So I've taken to knitting, and I'm knitting scarves for a couple of friends.
That's amazing. Next time you can bring me one.
Sure thing. So I would say, look at what you can do, because people do appreciate those personalized gifts a lot. So you don't always have to spend the money.
That's true. I love that. And it just reminds me of just feeling cozy at home. And it's something that, when people wear it, they think of you. And that sometimes just goes a long way. Yep. So let's get into some savings products and some tips for holiday shopping. Recently we were talking about savings products, and I mentioned a story about how my nanny used to get us different certificates or bonds when we were younger, and we'd be like, "Oh, it's a piece of paper."
Smart nanny.
I know.
Yes.
Now we thank her. So are there any other tips like that?
I would say, right. So I've done the same route with a couple of my nieces and stuff who are younger. So, when you're thinking about giving gifts, think about something that can go a long ways for those folks as well. So I have done certificates for my nieces and even my own kids.
So I'm sorry, I don't mean to interrupt.
No,
how do those
fine.
work exactly? And where do they go? So for example, if I'm a child and I open it up and I see this bond, like what happens? Is it in the ether? And then how do you take advantage of it, and when can you take advantage of it?
So opening a certificate is as easy as going on your online or mobile application, going to Navy Federal, and kind of looking at how long do you want to save your money, right? So what's the time that you don't need to touch this money? And so for holiday spending, let's say if I was trying to save for the holidays, I would open a certificate perhaps springtime, right? And do a certificate for 6 months. Those 6 months, my money's working harder for me because it's earning interest. Instead of letting it sit in a savings account or a checking account, which also earns interest, but certificates generally offer higher interest. So your money's working harder for you. And then when you're ready to, when your term ends, you should think about liquidating it if you really need the funds. And if you don't, you can continue to roll them over into another certificate product. And so I say certificates are the best way to kind of plan for the future. And you do a laddering of sorts. So if you're planning for the holidays and you start saving 6 months early, do a 6-month certificate. If you're planning for a vacation that you're going to be taking a year from now, you might want to do a 12-month certificate, or do a 6-month and then roll it into a 6-month because you didn't need the funds. So there's a lot of opportunities to kind of make your money work harder for you, I would say.
So, and thinking about that timeline, it almost sounds like, right now when we think about saving for the holidays, it's almost like we should start saving for next year's holidays with the 6-month and the 12-month timeline.
Yeah, absolutely. The sooner you start, the better position you're going to be in.
So, and then thinking, about, these holidays and just given, the situation that we're all in, is there, any spending habits or anything that you've changed to make your money work for you?
Absolutely. So I was a Stitch Fix fan. So I would get a monthly subscription of Stitch Fix. And so that's a clothing package that I would get. It would have 5 things, and I would get to pick and choose what I wanted to keep. Well, since March, since I've been working from home, I've kind of canceled all my Stitch Fix subscriptions, delayed them, because I'm not in need for new clothes. I'm not coming into work every day. So I would say that's a change I've made. Also, not going to Starbucks every day, right? So, and that $5 spent
I'm going every day. No.
That's $5 spent at Starbucks daily does add up if you think about it, right?
Yeah.
My $1 or my 50-cent coffee cup at home or 20-cent coffee cup at home compared to $5 a day, I'm saving $25 a week. And then what I've started with my husband lately is we used to order out twice a week for dinner. So I'm not ordering out because it's just easier for me to cook at home and I feel more safe cooking myself. And so I'm taking that money that we would normally be paying for carryout and putting it to the side as well. And that's my spend bucket for holidays and things like that.
Right. No, that makes a lot of sense. And something I've noticed, a lot of the subscriptions that I have, like gym subscriptions, or you mentioned Stitch Fix, those types of things, that's hundreds of dollars a month that I'm now saving.
Yep.
And so I've been setting up just a monthly, from my checking into my savings account. And a lot of the gyms paused the accounts, but I just ended up just canceling them because you just don't really know.
You don't know when we're going back.
I think it's also important too, if you do see charges like that, I think you can probably call the companies and see if there's anything that they can do. Because every dollar counts.
Every dollar counts. And then, CDs, you can usually open a certificate with $50. So take that $50 and open a certificate for your son. Take a $50 and open a certificate for your mom or your dad or your siblings.
Or even cutting back. And it's funny because you mentioned the Starbucks and, that really adds up. But for me, I went from, maybe like going out to dinner, and instead I'm going on morning walks with one of my friends who actually works here at Navy Federal. And then at the end, we get Starbucks. So instead of, like a $20, $30 dinner, we're just getting like a $3 or $5 Starbucks in the morning. And then you're also getting to spend quality time. So, reallocating funds and being able to save money here and there, but still being able to spend time, I think is really important. All right, great. Well, so I know that you do have 2 boys at home.
Yes, ma'am.
Any special plans for the holidays, or have you guys thought about, gifts or anything like that?
So my 2 boys are, I would say, grown men at this point. And they will be home. And I was just talking to the older one yesterday, and I said, hey, do you want to go somewhere? He's in med school, so he only gets limited time off. And he said, no, Mom, I just want to be home. I just want some family time, because he's had to go back to college for studies and stuff. So, we're just going to be enjoying the holidays as much as we can and spending quality time together. In terms of gifting, I think we're going to just, the gift is going to be, they're going to make me breakfast one day, or they'll make dinner one day. We'll do the best we can given current circumstances.
Well, that's great. I love that. So just to recap a few things that you mentioned, going into the holidays, there are going to be a lot of great sales, and most of them are going to be online and digital.
Yep.
So make sure you have a plan.
Absolutely.
Think about your budget, and then also, make your money go further for you. So think about, a Secret Santa, or you mentioned that you're going to be drawing.
Yep.
Just so crafty. I love that. I wish I had that. And then, we talked a little about the savings products, and given the timeline of 6 months or 12 months, start saving now for next year's big events. It doesn't just have to be the holidays. It can be any type of, vacation or major purchase.
Especially given that we've all been in the pandemic environment. Most people haven't taken a vacation, right? So that when this is over and it's safe to get out, a lot of folks are going to want to take that vacation. So start putting away that money now and put in a certificate for 6 months, 9 months, 12 months. There's so many different terms out there, and just let it sit there. It's in an account. You'll get a penalty fee, so there's a deterrent there, and you won't likely go touch it because you don't want to pay a fee to take that money out. But set it aside, forget about it, leverage it when the pandemic is over as you need it.
Is there a minimum amount?
For the certificates for Navy Federal.
Start saving?
For certificates, you can start as low as $50 at Navy Federal.
Wow.
Yeah.
Okay. So it sounds pretty doable for most people.
Yep.
Great. Well, thank you so much for coming in today.
Absolutely.
And can't wait till next time when you bring me a scarf.
Yes, ma'am. Have a wonderful day.
Thanks. You too. Thanks again for tuning in to Making Sense, and make sure to subscribe wherever you get your podcasts.
Navy Federal Credit Union is federally insured by the National Credit Union Administration. This podcast is intended to provide general information and shouldn't be considered legal, tax, or financial advice. It's always a good idea to consult a tax or financial professional for specific information on how certain laws may apply to your individual financial situation. References to and participation with the military community does not constitute organizational endorsement. Navy Federal is an equal housing lender. Navy Federal Credit Union. Our members are the mission.